What's going on, guys? In today's video, we are testing out Temu hand tools. We've done a couple of the electric tools in the past, from the welder to the impact, a bunch of other random electric stuff, but today I want to check out things like this, like these WorkPro ratcheting wrenches. Are they any good? Are they worth it? How's the grip? So we just want to hop in, we want to test them out, see how a couple of them hold up, and see if they're worth your guys' money. All right, so first up, we're just gonna run through a couple of these, take a look at them, then we're gonna hop outside and hit them really hard with an impact and see what happens. This right here is the Liberation Impacted set. Price is up on the screen like normal, guys. Basic idea of this set is you have adapters. Like this in here is 3/4 inch, massive monster, down to 1/2 inch. Now I actually don't own any tools that are 3/4 inch, so we'll be testing some of the 1/2 inch stuff with my big old yellow DeWalt Impact. Then of course we have a couple of these nice little units here. These are going to be a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch adapter. I mean, overall, the kit looks really nice. This is exactly how it came right here. Does appear to be missing one piece. This did just have a soft plastic cover on top, but the really cool part about this guy here is, aside from being a little thick, this is something you could just stick right in your toolbox and it would hold all of these pretty perfectly. So this in here really caught my eye because I do a lot of electrical work, right? I recently wired up my crappy lights up here. Sometimes I'm doing pretty nice electrical work. So I've never used a wire stripper that attaches to a drill before. Basic idea, you run the wire in here, you spin it, and it's just gonna go ahead and strip it and clean it off. Has a whole bunch of different gauges. Right here we have 6 gauge. Then you can see we go all the way down to, looks like 14 gauge is gonna be our smallest. But yeah, this will be a pretty interesting and easy one to test out, not too in depth. Now, quick disclaimer here, guys. I ordered all of this stuff after the tariffs hit, a few weeks after the tariffs hit, actually. So far, I'm not seeing any huge price increases on Temu, a little bit here and there. Some things like the inflatable tent, I've seen as low as $181. So some of the prices are actually coming down. Of course, we can't go into hand tools without trying out a couple of hammers. This is a 16 ounce and a 10 ounce. We have a stubby here. It's got the little hammer nail attachment right there. It does have the magnet inside, as you can see right there. Kind of hopeful. This one as well also has it. Now, we're not going to test this one out because if you guys want to see this one used, you're going to have to subscribe and check out the full bathroom remodel I did with a ton of Temu stuff. I'm just recently finishing it up. Video should be out in the next week or two. That goes with these as well. These are some wire strippers and pliers that I got. We're not going to be testing those today. These were also used pretty heavily in the Temu bathroom remodel, as well as this beautifully dirty face mask. As you can see, that's how it fits. I will say it's basically safety glasses. It doesn't have any kind of filtration, nothing like that. I used the heck out of this thing in that bathroom remodel. Whenever I needed safety glasses, I just put this sucker on, and this thing was so nice to use. It's just sometimes it's a little bit nicer than safety glasses right up against your face. Next up, we have the Liberaton nut driver set. This is supposed to be a magnetic nut driver set. This is the same brand as those impact drivers we got right at the beginning. I did notice this was one of the tool companies on Temu the most. Looks like a pretty decent kit. Check that out. I mean, these things go up to some real sizes. Most of the ones I have of these, the biggest they go up to is about a 10. This is actually a super useful set. I'm gonna be pretty happy to have this one around. Hopefully they grip right and, you know, work halfway decently. That's pretty awesome. Looks like it goes from a 1/4 inch all the way up to 3/4 inch. Now, working on the Bird scooters here, I don't do it as much anymore. I've handed most of that off to a buddy of mine. You guys have seen him in my recent camping video. That's Dale. He needed more of these Security Torx bits. So I thought we would try some from there and see how they are. Now, keep in mind, guys, I'm gonna be throwing prices up here on the screen. Some of this stuff, even if it works good, not a great price. Like this little stubby hammer was 12 bucks. I've seen these at Home Depot as cheap as about 10. So not exactly a fantastic deal. Now in the end, if you're super particular about your hammers, I am not. There are gonna be things you're gonna look for that, again, I am not. It does come with an extender. It comes with a set of Security Torx on one side and normal Torx on the other. All right, next up we have these silicone working mats. So I work in a lot of small electronics, be it replacing the kid's phone screen or working on computers. And something like this is just nice to have regardless, especially when I'm using a heat gun and just need a place to set it down if I'm missing the stand, the mount, whatever. On top of that, it's really nice for small screws, especially when you have all these little tiny trays here. And this one right here, I believe is magnetic as well. Yeah, it is. Check that out. So not a lot of testing to do on this, but I will say this looks exactly like the images. These should be good up to about 500 degrees, both of them. Although this one doesn't state it, the orange one did. This is actually called a soldering mat. They look cool, they're gonna protect your surface, and for the price, kind of hard to beat. So these ones I already recommend. These are really cool. These will get used a lot here in the future. All right, next up, this is the WorkPro Stubby Ratcheting Wrench Set. Oh, check that out. Adjustable and ratcheting. Let's hear how the ratchet sounds. That is a really fine ratchet. Now with some of these guys, including the next box here, we are going to take these things and put big breaker bars on them and see if they hold up, because that's what you really want to know. In the end, it's gonna be the right size, it's gonna fit, it's gonna work in general, but I'm gonna take one from each set and we're really gonna rail on them and see if they break. Feels like pretty decent construction, pretty sturdy in the middle, not too flexible. I've used some of these in the past where they kind of flop around. It's really hard to use. Single adjustable Allen head screw attachment on the side. And this one here goes from 5/16 up to 3/4. And then just for the heck of it, I picked up a couple of these. These came in a set of 4 right here. Side clamps, great for working on small stuff. For me, I like using these with electronics so I can hold down the board or the PCB or mount it to something else. Just makes life a little easier. They do feel super cheap. There's no doubt they won't hold a ton of pressure. Let's go ahead and try that out. Yeah, handle feels kind of flimsy, and I don't think you're even going to be able to break it that way, but oof, if I keep pulling, I think it'll snap because the plastic's pretty thin, so no surprise there. No surprise there at all. All right, and biggest for last, who doesn't need a toolbox set in a truck? Most people I know who work on things, even when they have their big tool sets in their garage, like me, I got a couple of them in here. I still have a gray one of these. I think mine is a Craftsman that I use, and it just kind of goes in me everywhere. Honestly, I use the Craftsman more than any of my other tools. But I'm very curious to see how this thing works. And we're gonna use one of these on an impact and hit it really hard. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so this is just a lower half. Kind of nice, you don't have to worry about all your stuff falling out. They have a nice color to them. Not super important, but pretty nice color. I will say this feels lighter than your average 12 though. Yeah, again, we'll pull a couple out of each one, like some of these bigger ones, we'll hook them up to the big impact and we'll send them to town, see what they're capable of. I don't believe these ones are impact rated, but I figure that's a pretty good test either way. As you guys can see here, the sticker on the front looks like it came out of a LaserJet printer. The detail is not quite there, but it is a 46 drive, 4 accessory, 1 ratchet by P Group. All right, let's go ahead and get some stuff around and beat the crap out of these tools and see if any of them are worth your money. We're gonna be using the impact here. We're gonna be using this adapter from the first set from the Libertron. Then we're gonna be using this 3/4 from the Mechanic set. Now this is already tightened, but we're just gonna run it down. I wanna see what it'll do, if it'll break. This is the strongest electric impact I got. All right, we're gonna call that a win. Check that out. Twisted my bolt right off. Now I seen this as a possibility, guys. That's why we're using something I don't need anymore. And I have some backup wheels, but I did not expect it to work that quick. All right, we're gonna use the deep socket for this. Again, you guys can see that is a 3/8 inch right there. We saw the same adapter right here on the DeWalt. These lug nuts are already tightened. Let's see if it can pull one off. Woo, that's a good test because they are on there good. See that? We have no rotation, no twisting, no deformation. She's warm though. And taking a look in here, it was not slipping at all. Let's try it again on a different one. That one's a little too tight. Guys, I'm gonna give that a pass. I mean, 3/8 impact. You guys saw the power of the impact earlier. It tore that bolt in half. Not a bad set. That's pretty sweet. Got a unique look and they are freaking tough. They are not very thick either. Not a super thick wall. Guys, I'm gonna say that's a pass. All right, now checking a little deeper into the ratchet here. Seems to have quite a few teeth. Sounds pretty similar to my 80 tooth. Not bad. We're gonna put this on a breaker bar and see if it survives. We already know those lugs are tight, so they're gonna be the great test subject. Using an extension right out of the box there. All right, here we go. Let's see if it holds out. Failure. All right, so we can see here, given guys, this is not what a 3/8 is for. The extension itself failed right there at the head. Snapped clean, check that out. But the ratchet, honestly, sounds just fine. Now guys, the real question is how tight are my freaking lug nuts? All right, so to give the ratchet another true shakedown, I got myself my Husky stainless steel one here. This thing is pretty tough. It has been used a lot. Only difference with this one is it is a bit of a swivel end, gives you a little bit of playroom when getting on the bolts. We are using the exact same socket here. It's a 19 millimeter. It says chrome vanadium on it. We're gonna get her in there. We're on the same lug nut. Let's see if this one survives. Okay, if my Husky failed as well in the exact same spot, we're just gonna say this is too much for that lug nut. Check that out. Same exact failure point on both, so you know what? We're not gonna blame this on the Temu tools here. I don't really see an issue with that one. You know what? And the fact that it snapped two of those off, but yet the ratchet still sounds fine, we're gonna call that a pass on the next tool. All right, now we're gonna add one more point of failure in here. We're gonna put the swivel in the middle and hit it again. So far, guys, these sockets are impressing me. The sockets are great. The extensions, well, it honestly should have failed. Put the same one, the same 19 back on. There we go. No slipping at all in there, nothing. All right, guys, we're gonna call these Liberton set and the Chrome box set a total win. These things are pretty awesome, actually. All right, now this should go without saying, guys, trying to take off super tight lug nuts with 3/8 inch tools, not a good idea. Definitely not a good idea. But I figured it was a great test for failure. And while this one failed, in all fairness, guys, the Husky failed in the exact same way. So Husky's a brand that's been around for a while, pretty trusted for the budget brand. And the ratchet, way more pressure than you should ever put on a 3/8, holding up just fine. All right, next up, I'm very curious to try these wire strippers here. It's just such a cool idea, you know, just a handy little thing. This would be great for an electrician, given, you know, you have your average wire strippers here, put it through, pull, it works just fine, but this is still a pretty cool idea. So what you can do, you pull right here, this pops back, and you can slide in the new tool. We'll go ahead and cut ourselves back a nice clean piece, just like it would be if you were doing a wire. Okay, that's freaking cool. Check that out. It mildly twists it while giving you the perfect cut size for a lot of different situations. Now, cool part is, check this out. If I pull this right here and slide it out, then I run it through again. Oops. Well, that has the possibility to happen. All right, now if we try it again, now that I moved it back. You can set the depth of your, oh man, this thing's gonna get a lot of use. That is super cool. Not much else to test with it, but that is really cool. We'll go over the settings one more time on this thing. So first off, you have multiple different sizes. Let's see, what's our biggest size here? So you have 6 gauge all the way up to 12 gauge in this kit. Then check this out, pull this back, easy swap. You just line up the little ball here with the steel ball bearing inside. Clip it in and you're ready to go. You need to adjust your size. pull this back and adjust to where you need it. Really cool set, guys. I've never tried out one of these before. This is gonna get a lot of use around this house. That's pretty awesome. All right, next up, guys, to try this little kit, we're just gonna keep it real simple. We're just gonna test one of them here. We're just gonna run this big screw into this wood, see how well it works. I mean, it's a pretty simple design. It's kind of hard to get wrong, but I will say the magnets are a nice touch. They're a lot bulkier than the average version of these that I've seen, but again, guys, they go up to 3/4 inch. Like that's pretty awesome. These are going right into the toolkit. Yeah, without a problem. I was having a little issue there at the beginning because I locked my clamps on this little plastic piece right here. So the drill was just spinning around instead of actually gripping onto the shaft. Once I switched it though, not a single problem. I mean, a lot of these tools, it's kind of just about seeing them in person to know whether or not they're worth it. But so far, I'm pretty impressed. I would definitely say a lot of these are going to be above the budget brands at Harbor Freight, but probably not as good as their top end. Although I will say these sockets impressed me. I've had some Husky strip out untensioned that high. So that's pretty awesome. I like this set. Nice little carrying case too. I'm a very unorganized person for the most part, so whenever I have a place that I'm kind of forced to put things, helps out a lot. All right, now we're gonna test out this little kit here. I just wanna see if they strip out after a couple of screws. Yeah, we're just gonna run a few screws through. We're gonna be using the T25 here with their extender right here to run in some screws. We'll set it to hammer, see if it can mess them up a little bit. Nope, it just pushed the screw down in further. Let's take a look at the tip here. Honestly, looking just fine. All right, for this last test, guys, I was gonna stress these things out, but realistically, being this small and stubby, they're never gonna take much stress. So we're just gonna do a quick normal test with them. I mean, the quality feels great. The ratcheting mechanism, it feels great. The ratcheting mechanism in this ratchet here, kind of surprising if I'm being honest. Now again, I just want to clarify. This extension braking, that was way more force than a 3/8 should ever have on it. We're talking a 3-foot breaker bar on a stuck lug nut with an adapter. That is not a normal use case. I just wanted to really see if the sockets and if the ratchet themselves would hold up. So this braking, that's very expected in that situation. But guys, these sockets, pretty impressive. Now, obviously longevity, we're not gonna know. We're not gonna know in one day. We're with a few tests. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep using these over the next few months. You know, whenever I have some stuff going on, I'm always working on cars. We have the Jeep project coming up. I've talked about it in a few videos. And I'll make sure to update you guys in videos whenever anything happens. If something breaks, I'll let you know. But for now, let's just test this out. I mean, it's a very smooth ratcheting mechanism. It's pretty awesome. Bringing it in. Yeah, starting to dig into the wood, no problem. I mean, you can hear it. It just... Once again, guys, I'm impressed. Now, I'm going to make sure all the prices are up, as per usual. Let me know down below. Would you guys buy or use Temu tools? Now, obviously, WorkPro is not a Temu company. They just happen to sell on Temu. But if the price is right, are these something you guys would pick up? I know for sure I'm happy with the quality. Honestly, the part that surprised me the most is probably these sockets. So that's gonna be about it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think. If you wanna see more tests with these tools, they're gonna be sticking around. They won't be sold. And I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.